Hello and welcome to this, a look at the recent global test fire for Splatoon 2. Nintendo's multiplayer shooter garnered a lot of popularity on the Wii U and the sequel. Looks like it's going to be good. So, starting with the test fire, we had 4 weapons to choose from. The original Splattershot, basically an assault rifle. It does what it says on the tin, shoots lots. The Splat Roller, a giant paintbrush, which is a melee weapon you roll people over with. The long-range Splatoon Splat Charger Sniper Rifle, and the dual SMGs, the Dualies, which are the new weapon, so I tried them first. Now, load times weren't fantastic in the test fire. There's a couple of connection issues, so I've cut the times down a bit here, because otherwise this video would be a lot longer. But yes, 8 players, 2 teams of 4, and you've got the way the game works is that you've got a map. You have to cover the map in paint. Opponents will try and stop you doing this. You can shoot them. They will explode into a cloud of ink. But look, you're a squid and a kid at the same time. And this time, you're a lot more retro and hipsterish. So, as you can see, playing as blue v pink, and we are clearing the script, covering everything we can see in a very pretty ink. I mean, the textures on those are delightful. You can really feel the viscosity. So by turning into a squid, you get access to reloading, and taking people out requires you to try and avoid their ink while spraying your own everywhere. Now, get caught on opponents' ink and you go down because you stop moving quite quickly and it's hard to do anything. So if I open the map with X, I can click on a flare and I will super jump to them, which allows for quick reinforcements. The game doesn't feature voice chat because that's coming later, we think, in this companion app, but it's not guaranteed yet and no one really knows what's going on until Nintendo tell us. So, as you can see, the main sort of focus of the game is that you're trying to get the drop on your opponents as much as possible, either by turning into a squid and sneaking around and trying to gather up enough charge, which you can see in the top right corner, to use either special weapon grenades or the special super weapons I had going on there and that my opponents just used. So the one I have with the Dualies, and everything in Splatoon is based around classes, built around weapons, is that I had the ability to turn my Dualies into a jetpack and fire grenades off at will. So, what you can see happening here is I've realised all my opponents are busy fighting my friends on the other side of the bridge, so in the finest traditions of me playing multiplayer games, I'm going to go hide around the back and wait for them to make a mistake. And in the meantime, I'm going to play the objective. So, as I said, the idea is you try and cover everything in as much paint as possible. So, bigger weapons allow for an easier time of that. As you can see, my opponent with the Splat Roller had a really easy time of taking me out. Sorry, the Dualies there. So, yeah. Now, I'm using the gyro controls for this. I was using a Switch Pro controller, so that works perfectly. There's no issues. I recenter the camera with the Y button, and it's fine. There's absolutely no problem. Now, what you see here is me foolishly trying to climb up a wall, because any ink you can climb in, you can hide in. But it's not a good idea to do that while they're looking. So, every match is a few minutes. This is my opponent launching those missiles you saw them activating earlier, and trying to clear as much of the map as possible. At about the 30-second mark, everyone just goes into full just find somewhere that's not the right colour and fix it mode. So, yep. There we go. Game over. Paintball match done. And final screen shows the good guys, which you are always, versus the bad guys, which your opponents are always. And the idea is that you try and cover as much of your own territory quickly as possible and go from there. So, as you can see, we did pretty well there. Nice healthy lead. And yeah, so finished with the Splat Dualies. I figured probably move on from there, make sure that the rest of the weapons haven't been horribly downgraded. So we look at this, and again, loading times take a little bit of time, but what can you do? So, Splat Roller next. In the original game, it was much decried for being a cheap weapon because it's a gigantic roller that you have to kill the opponent with to avoid, and if they touch you with it, you die. So yeah, I think this is on the second map in the test fire, which is, yep, the Muscle Forge Fitness. Everything in Splatoon is based around these really quite charming community center type things. So you have like a fitness center, or the previous one was a shopping district. There's various different types of map that were in the original game, and as you can see, the Splat Roller is really quite good at covering up a large area quickly. Now, part of the idea of the game is that there are 4 players. Every player has their own role and tries to do... I think, can't do anything with I think. So every player tries to perform to their role and improve the team as a whole. We have 3 Splat Rollers, which means we're going to have a problem against anyone wielding a gun, because Splat Roller has limited missile capabilities, and yeah, you'll see what happens. But yes, so as you can see, once you have control of the map with your own colour, it becomes incredibly easy to get around. So taking control of the game requires you to play the objective, because otherwise you're not going to get to play at all. The sounds are great as well. The music was charming and wonderfully just sort of silly in the original game, and there's no let up here. Yep, as you can see, that was me having a bit of trouble in the green ink. So, and that's the missile capabilities on the Splat Roller. What we're trying to do here is just take back territory so that our one player with a gun can be more useful. So yep, take my time. Oh, and we are getting caught off guard. Run away! Yeah, staying in teams while they're... And that was going to get the special weapon. Staying in teams is a bit trickier because you don't have that voice capability that most multiplayer games have. However, I also don't have to deal with a 10-year-old screaming at me because I'm using a Splat Roller. So there are ups and downs. Now, there are communication capabilities, and sorry, that was just very silly. So you can see the little D-pad commands down the bottom there, and I have the ability to see my friend coming in on top of me through the jump we showed off earlier. And those allow you to have a little bit of tactical communication. Mostly what you're meant to be doing though is checking your map, watching your friends, and making sure that you're in a position to make use of whatever's going on in the game. So, 30 seconds, as I said, back into just find something that's not the right colour and fix it. Games are over very quickly, and individual combat fights, it's like the one you just watched, tend to be a very short notice affairs. There's unlikely to be many long-range duels or anything like that. This isn't Battlefield where you're trying to fight halfway across the map. It's very short-ranged and quick. And again, Splat Roller. Now, remember how I said about team composition being really useful? Yeah. So, the game is balanced quite well so far. If you all go Splat Rollers, you're going to have a problem. In a couple of instances there, you were able to see me get taken out at very close range by people with the basic splatters. And it just basically means you're just dealing with stuff as it comes along. You have to be aware of how to fight against every gun. And each one has a very different function. It's very fun to play against. So, here we go again. Splatter Shot. I'm not great with these. I don't like sniper rifles on the whole, but Splatoon makes the sniper rifle more interesting. So, in the original game, you were forced to fire your shot after charging it, and it was functionally a one-hit kill. Now, that's a good team comp. That's one of every weapon. And what we have here is a slightly different thing. So, by firing, I have a short-range burst, but instead of a bullet drop, or a bullet in general, I have a long beam of paint coming out, which means I can kind of actually do some really good coverage. And full charge, and what you can do is fire a long distance. So I can see my opponent there is doing something I don't like. So that's what it looks like when you're facing off against a sniper shot, and that's why you keep your friends around, like I said, because then you know, don't mess up quite so easily. So yeah, as I was saying, the sniper rifle, it has a slightly different functionality. You're allowed to do some very different stuff with it, and it makes it more interesting to use. Like, I don't like using sniper rifles, but I could see myself using the splatter shot if it was called upon by my teammates, because the ability to take out long-range enemies is very useful in Splatoon, unless you get caught cornered by those guys. And what happens is you end up with this really lovely thing of just teamwork. So it can also be used as a short-range weapon if necessary. It's not recommended though. And yeah, it also helps to be able to actually aim. But yes, so other than that, that's the basic gameplay down. I mean, right now you can see that we've not covered up our rear area, which is unfortunate, because really you want to get that nice and wet. What we have is whenever it gets to the final few moments, every percentage point counts, and if I take this off now, it means we make points our opponents almost can't get. So, this is me about to use the super weapon for the sniper class, which is a long-range beam weapon, which I foolishly just did not realise exactly what it did, and wasted it on that, but got some progress, can't complain. Now, what you can do is use squid form to get around incredibly quickly, as I said, and you get some real distance. Like, I was able to jump that path back there quite quickly. And yep, so as I said, last 60 seconds and everything turns into panic mode, and make sure the opponents stay out of the game mode. And yeah, so what we have is a very frenetic, fun game, which is more about territory control than it is about killing your opponent. I'm not saying that's not important, but as you can see, providing you have the coverage, you can do a lot more damage. So, take a look, jump. The ability to quick jump to friends is actually really useful. It encourages players to stay alive and also make sure that they're available for players to jump onto them. And third game, this looks like a win. I think it was. Yep, comprehensive. So as you can see, there's bits at the top there where our opponents haven't actually finished off clearing their own areas, which meant we've been able to capitalise on that where we have used all of ours. Now, I have to talk about the designs of the characters because they're all great. You're allowed to customise your own characters, and there's a lot of flexibility in that. In this demo, there was only the 4 main classes to work from, but look at how fashionable all these kid squids are. Look! Oh, it's the gas mask one I love. It's so silly. Yeah, so final game, and showing off the splatter shot. Or sorry, yes, splatter shot. Splat charger was the last one. They're all called variations of splat. I remember them as the roller, the assault rifle, the sniper rifle, and the twin guns, because I'm not. I have very finite space in my head. I don't need to learn every single variation of the word splat. But yes, other than that, you've got these really fun characters where the tentacles are the hair and all of their clothes are the trendiest thing imaginable. And yet, it's all set in this ridiculous 90s gunge, neon fluorescent mess of a game that all works. It's designed around a theme, and everything that is in the game is designed to support that theme. As you can see, that's my opponent getting stuck in our ink. I've cut off his retreat so he can't escape. Yeah, so what you have is this really pleasant aesthetic going on, where it's just nice, I think is the best way of describing it. I mean, this is not like many shooters out there. The original Splatoon was very popular because of that, where it didn't have to be Gears of War or Call of Duty or any of the other military sims. This was before Super Hot and all of those other games that tried to kind of look at the FPS and the shooter game in general and rework it, make it a bit more interesting. And it really does function really well. Everything's built around the territory mechanic, so the game feels cohesive. And I mean, you've got this really pretty map, and what you've got then is this pretty map that's going on, and you ruin it by the end of the game. And it's just, it allows the player to feel like they're having an impact. I'm not great with many guns, and I can play shooters competently, but I'll lose to a very good team almost all the time. But in this, I don't have to be. I can just kind of take a minute, look around, and just go, okay, I may not be able to kill all these people, but if I take 2 minutes, I'm going to go and clear all the paint off this area, and I will have helped. I will have added a couple of percentage points to the end of the game. And it's just fun. I don't have to worry about being berated, and I don't have to deal with a kill-death ratio or anything dumb like that. That isn't about how the game is supposed to be played. Instead, you just have charm and fun and good game design. And here we go. I don't remember this one. Yeah. Closer than I thought, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, look at those squidlings. Look. How good is this game? So, I'm going to be looking forward to Splatoon 2 come summer, which means maybe like June. So yeah, thanks for watching.